recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to Go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to Go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Love your car or truck? You'll love it more with a new sound system from Super Sound in Greenville. They've got all the hot brands like JL Audio, Alpine, Hyphonics, Pioneer, Rockford Fosgate, Kicker, Heiss, and more. And great technicians to do the install. Super Sound in Greenville, 5013 Wesley Street. They make sound move you. Super Sound and Security.
And created in the state of Texas back in 1947. It was pre-city manager era, so there wasn't city managers sitting in the various cities at that time when this was adopted. Citizens cities with population of over 10,000 or more can elect to do this. And it is a opportunity for cities with paid fire and police departments. So if you have volunteer, it doesn't apply. This chapter 143 can be voted in by the police and the fire departments, and they have separate votes. They don't vote together, they vote separately. Civil service has been adopted by approximately 80 cities across Texas. So even though there's hundreds and hundreds of cities, only 80 cities at this time have a civil service in place. The main rule or role that this is supposed to do is establish decision-making processes for personnel issues such as hiring, testing, promotions, disciplinary processes, as well as investigations and inspections. And I'll go into that in more detail in just a minute. And then the rules that are proclaimed are in compliance with 143 Local Government Code. So in our civil service rules and regulation, there are parts that are specific to City of Greenville, and then there are parts that they fall back on the state ruling. Who's it for? It's for the Greenville Police Department and the Greenville Fire Department. It was adopted by the City of Greenville by an election that was held on January 2nd, 1948. So it's been around a while. How it's created, and this is the Civil Service Commission. How it's created, there are 3 commission members. They have alternating 3-year terms, so not everybody comes up at the same time as far as if they want to step down or not. Members must make a commitment to attend all meetings. If there are too many absences, one of the rules is that you can be removed from the commission. The meetings that we have are as needed basis, so it's not a standard set meeting like y'all have with the City Council. And it's oversaw by a civil service director, which is me, and I am responsible for the administrative responsibilities. So what does our commission do? In role in hiring, both on the police and the fire side, we certify dates for eligible examinations. So if we can't take people who call into the city and say, hey, do you have a police opening, or if you have a fire opening, we have to set a date for a test. So we don't take applications unless there is a date set for an exam. They approve the postings for the notices of examinations, and currently right now, we put those out about 10 to 13 weeks ahead of the test, so that there's plenty of time for people to go to our website, see that there's openings out there, apply for the job, and then do the necessary pre-testing process, which is completing a personal history statement, which is about 45 pages long. They set standard qualifications on what is acceptable, like age, years of past service if they've worked for a different police department or fire department. And then they certify the eligibility list and the posting of scores once the test is completed. Roles and promotion for police and fire. The commission approves the study materials. We usually get the study materials from a certified group that is responsible for either writing the test or has that available for purchase. They approve posting notices for the examinations, and this is for an internal. When we do promotions, this is a closed promotion system. So when we post notices, it's for the current staff that's out there today, if they want to apply or are eligible to apply for that next level promotion. They establish and certified rules regarding the test, like length of time and things like that. Try to ensure fairness. They certify eligibility list and posting of scores once the test is completed, and then we hold appeal hearings if need be. Investigations and inspections, both for police and fire. They will investigate or report on all matters relating to the enforcement and effect of this chapter in the City of Greenville. So if there was something that was not being adhered to properly or something of that nature, then they would be involved in what's going on. During an investigation, a commission or commission members may administer oaths. They can issue subpoenas for attendance or witnesses and production of documents, may request a deposition of witnesses, And they can also do an oath or subpoena under the section of the Chapter 143 that has the same force and effect as an oath administered by a magistrate. Disciplinary processes, both for police and fire. Civil service employees can appeal disciplinary actions to the commission. They can request a hearing. They can either appeal through the commission or they can request a hearing with an outside examiner to hear the appeals. So they're not restricted to just staying inside the people that are on the commission. They can use an outsider to go through the appeal process. Disciplinary matters are subject to different types of disciplinary, such as temporary suspensions, which might be 1 to 15 days. An indefinite suspension is actually equivalent to termination, demotion, or a promotional passover. And I'm responsible for coordinating all the matters related to the appeal. And the procedure is conducted like a civil proceeding in any court. How we've used this here, the City of Greenville Police and Fire Department has used the commission as follows. We've done the necessary parts of the approval process related to the alternative promotional system used by the police. They have like I said, a closed promotional process, and there's certain rules and regulations that they follow. And they've used it, the commission, both in the earlier versions and the current version that we have. They've ruled on challenges related to promotional test questions, both for police and fire. And I've experienced this since I've been here over the last year and a half. We've had exams, and mainly it's with the promotional, doing promotional tests. And so we've had appeals, and we've gone through the appeal process through the commission. And then in talking with Chief Smith, he had told me that over the course that he can recall, 37 years, there's been 4 to 6 times that the commission's been responsible for securing an arbitrator for the disciplinary process. So even though we exist, we are basically a commission that helps facilitate the ability to get the testing process done, the promotions done, and things of that nature. We do have the other parts of the commission responsibility on hearing of disciplinary actions and things like that. But mainly, since I've been around, it's been mainly trying to facilitate getting people hired and promoted within the system here at the City of Greenville. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Very good. Very good brief. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next item is the 2020-2021 proposed budget presentation and discussion. Summer, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, Mayor and Council. We'll go through the 2021 proposed budget. You all have a physical copy right in front of you, so when you have time, it's very nice reading for you guys to go through. So in your spare time, if you'll look through that. I'll go through this presentation. These are the proposed numbers. And then at the end, I would like to get feedback as to what you guys are thinking, which direction, any kind of different direction we'd like to go, and get kind of feedback. And we can also do that along the way too. We've got a couple of meetings, I think one meeting, and then we'll vote on it. So we've got some time to go through that. So if you see anything, be sure to pick up the phone, call me, questions, anything like that. I'll be happy to answer it. There's a lot of information. I'm going to go through that in probably about 20 or so slides. So it'll kind of be just the top view of that. And so really, if there's any details that you'd like to jump into, just feel free to let me know, and then we can cover that at the next work session. As of right now, we don't have anything else on the next work session, so we'll have the next work session to go through whatever you guys feel like we need to go through. So we'll start out, like I said, tonight you've got the proposed budget in front of you. During the regular meeting, you'll set the dates for the public hearings on the tax rate and the budget. On the 25th, we'll hold the first public hearing on the budget. And then on September the 8th, we'll have the public hearing on the tax rate, the second public hearing on the budget, adopt the budget, ratify the tax rate, and then adopt the tax rate. So we'll go through that process. In the past, you might have seen we'd had a couple of hearings on the tax rates. We're required, due to Senate Bill 2, we're only required to have one hearing now. So we kept the 2 public hearings for the budget and 1 on the tax rate. Budget assumptions in the overall, we had strong financial position with stable fund balances. Our sales tax revenues remained flat. Property value growth of 7.4%. That's in our TAV. You'll see that with the numbers a little bit on a later slide. The new property tax values increased by 27%. There was no rate increase for water and sewer. No health insurance rate increase for the city or for the employee, so that stayed flat. And then we also implemented the phase 2 of the fire pay plan, which we started last year. Hold on, let's go back. So just a reminder, elements of your property tax. You see it up here as operations and maintenance. You might also see it as M&O. It's interchangeable. I've seen it on several different budgets, and it was both O&M and M&O. So that's basically your ongoing general fund operations. Your interest and sinking fund or payments on your debt for your general government, that's what we're required to pay, and that's the tax rate, the INS tax rate that we cannot change. It'll only change from year to year. We can't adjust that when we adjust the tax rate. So basically your tax rate is made up of your O&M or your M&O rate and then your INS rate. Just a reminder from the last presentation, 2021, 1 cent on the tax rate equates out to $223,328, and that's assuming a 99% collection rate. Compared to last year, where we assumed a 99.5% collection rate, that one was $208,738. So you'll see the difference in those two. And you saw this slide last time on the last presentation. So some property tax definitions so you understand. The no new revenue tax rate, which was formerly the effective rate, I'm still not used to saying that, is the calculation that are based on your valuation that gives the city the exact dollars in revenue that we generated in the previous year. So the same revenue that we had last year in fiscal year 1920 using 2021 appraised values. So we now call that the no new revenue rate. Truth in Taxation requires certain publications based on that. So what you'll see, if your proposed rate is equal to or less than your no new revenue rate, you don't have to publish anything. So if any entities, depending on the rules, you may not see their tax rate published because maybe they're not going higher than their no new revenue rate. If your proposed tax rate is higher than your no new revenue rate, then notices and public hearings are required. So therefore, we have our public hearing scheduled for tonight. Some exceptions for smaller cities or like water districts, things like that, they don't have to. So down at the bottom, the no new revenue rate for the city is 0.602465, or 2.4 cents under the proposed 0.627346 tax rate, which equates out to $555,662 in revenue. Just a little effect. I showed you guys this last year as well. You'll notice APV stands for appraised property value, and then obviously the NNRR is no new revenue rate. So as your appraised values rise, then obviously your no new revenue rate goes down. Vice versa, if your appraised values go down, then your no new revenue rate goes up. Obviously, you'd like them to balance. That way you can stay exactly where you're at that bottom graph. So it just gives you a little visual how they affect each other. Ad valorem tax rate history. This is per 100 evaluation. If you'll see, hopefully you guys can see that pretty well. In 2018, we went to the 0.65, I think 6562. Last year we were at 6422, and then this year we're proposing the 0.6273. So that just kind of shows you the downward trend in our tax history. And then this gives you an idea of where we're at in comparison to our no new revenue rate, or formerly our effective rate. So the dark line is going to be your no new revenue tax rate, and then the light colored orange line is going to be your adopted, and obviously 2020 will be the proposed tax rate there. So it kind of gives you an idea of kind of how the no new revenue relates to the actual tax rate. And then we also have the voter approval rate, which was formerly the rollback rate. So this allows the taxing unit to raise the same amount for operations as in the prior year, plus provides for the additional 3.5 cushion. If you'll remember, Senate Bill 2 changed that from an 8% cushion down to a 3.5% cushion starting, it was effective as of January, so it was effective January 2020. And this only includes the operation portion of the calculation. The debt service portion of the overall rate may rise as high as necessary. And then if taxpayers may petition for a voter approval tax election if the city proposes an increase over the voter approval rate. So if you go over that voter approval rate, then it triggers an automatic election. And then understanding your property tax. So if you're looking at your property tax bill in the city of Greenville, you've got you've got 4 entities that you'll see there. Greenville ISD, City of Greenville, Hunt County, and then Hunt Regional Hospital District. These are the 2019 tax rates. What you'll notice over there on the side is the percent of your total tax bill. So 47% is going to the ISD, 25% is going to the City of Greenville, 19% is going to the county, and then 9% is going to the hospital. So overall, if you live in the City of Greenville, last tax year, your tax per 100 evaluation would be $2.61 approximately. Here's the look at City of Greenville compared 1920 to 2021. So our certified net taxable, or TAV, at an increase of 7.4%. New taxable value that we talked about, that was an increase in 27%, went from 28 million to 35 million. And then you'll look at a comparison of our tax rate. Last year's was 0.642162, and then we're proposing this year at 0.627346, and that's a decrease of 2.3%. The no new revenue rate went up slightly, almost 1%, from 0.596 to 0.602. And then our M&O rate, which is our operations, what we use for our operations, went from 396,755 to 396,418 for a slight decrease of 0.08. And then our INS rate went down a little slightly as well, from 0.245407 to 0.230928 for a decrease of almost 6%. We refunded some debt last year, if you'll remember, and so that attributed to the decrease in there. And then kind of wanted to show this. We showed this last year, what you get for your money. So based on a home value of $200,000 at the proposed tax rate that we're proposing this year, your daily property tax would be $3.44. So compare that to a few things. Your cell phone is about $2.97 on average per day. Your auto loan is about $13 per day. Your utility bill is about $3.60 per day. We spend on lunch $6.69 on average. So what you get for that $3.44, you get police, fire, public safety, you get emergency management, coordination and planning, you get roadway infrastructure maintenance, you get sidewalk repairs, software to help up to ADA compliance improvements, economic development, special events at the parks and downtown, and then recreation facilities, and much more. This was just a few things that we listed. So you get quite a bit for your $3.44. And then how that breaks down, that daily cost of $3.44, $1.48 goes to public safety, 24 cents goes to general government, 17 cents goes to public works, community development goes 14%, culture and recreation is 24 cents, non-department is 7 cents, transfers and cost allocations, which is internal things, 38 cents, and then debt is 72 cents. And then just to give you an idea of our comparison in competitive cities by tax rate, obviously this is 2019 tax rates. So if you'll look, this includes a comparison and competitive cities. So you'll look, Greenville, out of 16 cities, Greenville last year's tax rate ranks at number 6, behind Cleburne, Garland, Rowlett, Wiley, and Denison. So Greenville's there in the yellow. Comparison cities are Denison, Corsicana, Cleburne, and no, Paris is not one. Waxahachie used to be one. Corsicana, Greenville, Denison, and Cleburne. Those are our comparison cities. All the rest are our competitive cities. And then if we look at those same cities by population, Greenville drops down to number 12 in terms of population. We're right in line, close there with Cleburne. Denison, Corsicana, our comparison cities are right underneath us, so not too far, so they're all pretty close right there. And then if you'll look, we compared them by median household income as well. So Greenville ranked 10th, behind there the median household income of $52,000. And then if you'll look at this, this is going to be our proposed summary of fund balance. This is our entire fund balance broken down by each fund that is managed within the budget. You may have some individual questions once this comes, but overall, if you'll look there, let's see, at the top is going to be our general fund, which is gets the most attention. So proposed ending fund balance is 5133, which I can't see that very well, 994. And then so we'd have a little over $3,000 of over our fund balance target, which in this proposed budget, we left it at the 19% fund balance target that was set last year. So we didn't change that. If that's something you'd like to change in the future, we've got a couple meetings to do that. Overall, if you'll look, our fund balance projected is going to be starting at $59,766,000, and then we're projected to end at $59,774,000. And then this is just an overall look at the entire, broken down by revenues and expenses. So you'll see property taxes, pilot, sales taxes, and then throughout the columns you'll see general fund, debt service fund, special revenue funds, proprietary funds, and then what's put into capital. So overall, there was it was a slight increase, a little over $8,000 in our overall fund balance compared to last year, which equates out to about a 0% increase. So it's 0.000 something. So basically kind of stayed where we were at. Proposed expenses. So overall, and mind you, this is going to be the entire budget. So that graph that you just saw with the $59 million, this is broken down by that. So this includes water, sewer. This is not just general fund. So you'll see 23% there goes to public safety, 27%, make sure I can see that, public works. The other big ones, debt service is 11%, services is at 12%, general government 4%, and then transfers at 12% as well. So it just gives you a breakdown overall of where we stand in regards to expenses. Next one's going to be proposed revenues. So you'll see property taxes at 22%, sales and income, which is going to be from the water and sewer, is going to be 28%, sales tax at 13%. So this is just a breakdown of all of that entire revenues for that entire 59, all of the funds. And this will give you, I know this one's kind of small, so you might have to look it up, but this will give you just an idea of the proposed funds balance for just the general fund. So we're proposed at the end of September 21 to end at $5,133,994. So you'll look down at the breakdown at the bottom there. Revenues are at $25 million, expenditures are at $27 million, for a deficit of 1.1. Estimated available balance October 2020, which is based on projections. That will come out, and then, like I said, we'll be over our target by a little over $3,000. And this is hitting our 19% target. So we'll be $3,000 over our 19% target. And then this is going to be our proprietary retained earnings summary. We don't necessarily call it in the accounting world a fund balance summary, but gives you the water, sewer, airport, internal service funds, and golf fund. So if you'll see there at the bottom, that'll total those all out. So overall, we've got a 2% change in retained earnings for the total of all our proprietary funds. So it kind of breaks that out. Water and sewer had a big change there, and then the other funds, golf, sanitation, those kind of things. So, but they all net out to a little 2% increase. It's built in there, yes. It is in there, yes, because we did receive it in this budget year. Yeah, and with the water and sewer fund, you'll notice we've got a lot of projects that we might have gotten the bond money one year, but we might not expense it till the next year because those projects, I mean, obviously those projects take quite a bit. Some of them can take, up to a year or 18 months, and so you may see the revenues hit in one budget year and then the expenses will hit in another budget year. So it nets out all together, but we have to obviously report it when we receive it. So if you see something like that, just feel free to ask and we can break down those projects, no problem. Okay, here's a look at our debt outstanding as of September 30th, 2020. From the general fund side, which is obviously you know is backed by ad valorem taxes, the total outstanding there is $37,641,97, and then outstanding on the water and sewer side is $35,744,903. The big change there that you'll see is that second line item there was the 2019 GO bonds that'll obviously mature in 2044 that we approved last year, which part of that was sewer and part of that was the Stonewall and sale. And then you'll look there on that top line, you've got maturing in 2022, then you've got 2011 bonds maturing in 2023, and then some COs maturing in 2023 as well. So that's where you'll see on the next, I think it's the next slide or the next two slides, you'll see where our debt kind of trends down. Yeah, next slide. So you'll see right there going from 2022 to 2023, our debt service payments decreased from 7.8 million down to 5.2 million. And then we trend down. And now this is assuming that we don't add any additional debt. So if we do add additional debt, then that would obviously change that number as well. So, and then overall personnel changes within the whole entire budget. So we added one full-time position in the MIS fund. That's the IT tech. We felt that it was important because of obviously the devices that the city is managing is not getting any less, and the software that we're having to manage is not getting any less. And so with that coming on, obviously the COVID was an important wake-up call that, if we're going to have people working from home or things like that, or we just need to be a little bit more agile and more flexible. So in order to do that, we felt it was important to add an IT technician. And so that would come out of the MIS fund, which would be cost allocated to all the funds next year. We added one full-time position in patrol at a cost of $87,873, which in talking with Chief Smith and Cole, they originally requested the 2 officers, but came back to us with a different option to be able to stagger schedules and do things a little bit differently than they do now. So we were able to, so instead of adding 2 officers, we added 1, and then also had additional 5 vehicles so that that staggered schedule could be supported by the patrol vehicles. So in talking with Scott about that we felt that was the best way to go to work up to, obviously, as of this September, the police department will be fully staffed for the first time in a long time, I think, since I've been here. So that'll give us a really good picture of where we're at as far as coverage and those kind of things. And then also we have a pretty good idea of what our population is. We don't know that for sure, but then next year we'll also have the census numbers. So we'll have some really good data at that time to be able to determine if we'll be able to if we'll be able to move forward with adding additional officers. So we just were able to put in 1 this time and then also add the additional vehicles to be able to support their modified schedule. And then we also added the 1 part-time position in the city secretary's office that would be assistant to the city council with redistricting coming up, going on, update possibly in the charter, and we just have a lot of things that could be going on, so we felt adding that position was important. And then obviously the fire pay plan update at $292,836. So that's the overall personnel changes in the entire budget. And then this just gives you a history of the salary adjustments. So starting in 2017-18, we started with the merit system, so we were 3% there. 18-19, you guys approved a 3% merit as well as a 1% COLA. And then 19-20, last year you guys approved a 2% merit. And then this current budget year, we're recommending a 0% increase. And then the staffing pay plan, this got adjusted just a little bit as well. In 18-19, police pay plan was updated. 19-20, year 2 of that update came around. 19-20, we also instituted year 1 of the fire pay plan. And then you also approved the employee pay plan update, which upgraded some of our job codes up to the 50% of our comparison cities. 2021, we're recommending fire pay plan update year number 2, and then we pushed back our employee pay plan update to 2021 for year 2, and then 2022-23 for year 3. So we just put that on hold for this current year and then pushed that back another year. In working with HR, we'll continue to look at those job codes, make sure we're not at the bottom of our competitive cities. We're still keeping all of our jobs in the 50% of our comparison cities and making sure that those jobs and the pay fit who's actually in that job. Staff's been working really hard on succession planning, so that's going well, and we'll still continue to work on that and devise plans, which that plan's going to change every single year. But it's really important that we take the time and the commitment to make sure we know we have a plan of where we're going with our staff. And if you'll remember from Sherry's presentation, in a couple of years we'll have over 100 people that are eligible to retire. So we don't foresee that happening, but if it could happen. And then just a summary of the fire pay plan. Increased your starting pay by 5%. Number of steps went from 4 to 8. Within the firefighter, within the promotional ranks, it went from 2 to 3. We're keeping pay competitive with our surrounding cities. So it's just really important, I think, that we included that in there so we don't keep getting further and further behind with our firefighters. And then we kept in there the current pay-as-you-go capital. So we kept in there a fire truck replacement at $250,000, street improvement program at $2 million. We did 13 emergency response vehicles, which include patrol, CID, PD support, and fire. We did 1 non-emergency response vehicle in the animal control, and we did 7 water wastewater vehicles. So all those 21 vehicles are included in our enterprise lease this year. We included our sports parts shade structures, which would be year 3, which would be coming out of our hotel motel fund. We also included, again, computer replacements, which we do every year. Our plan this year is to get away totally from desktops and just do laptops, so we'll be more flexible whenever we need to be. And then we have HVAC replacements as well. I think I told you guys last time that we're finally getting out of our 1990s models, so that's a good thing. And then we also are recommending the start of our kennel replacements out at our animal shelter. This would be year 1 of that, and it'd be a 7-year process at a little over $7,600 a year. And then other items included in the budget included tourism funding at $50,000, which we normally do $75,000 that we recommend, but we put in $50,000. We sat down, Talia and I sat down with Main Street Manager Doyle Dick and determined that, we had given some people some money at the beginning of this budget year. Some events didn't happen, so that money will carry over for their current events. So we kind of took that into consideration and knocked that down a little bit. If you guys want to increase that, that's perfectly fine. But the same ones that apply for it, we assume are going to apply again, and there may be more as well. But we kind of took that down a little bit. And then our non-governmental funding is based on the subcommittee recommendations was at $32,000. So that includes Senior Resource Center, Drug Free Greenville, and Keep Greenville Beautiful. Sorry, I just forget that one. And so, which comes out of the sanitation fund. So this includes the Senior Resource Center and Drug Free Greenville. And you'll see that noted in your book too. And then just some additional capital stuff. So out of the general fund, and compared to 1920, we transferred to CIP 2.5 million. 2021 will be 2.4 million for a decrease of 4.7%. From the utility capital side, 1920, we transferred 304,000. In 2021, we're going to recommending transferring 508,000 for a 67% increase. And then on the vehicle replacement side, which includes the pay-as-you-go fire truck and the enterprise vehicles, last year it was 460,000. 2021 will be 453,000 for a slight decrease. And then this just gives you proposed capital for 2021. So out of the general fund, like I said, is $2 million. Vehicle replacement from the general fund is $391,477. Hotel motel fund is $203,000, includes the GMA roof that we talked about. MIS fund is $50,000 for the computer replacements. Water wastewater fund is for additional equipment and some pumps there for $446,649. Airport fund, $2.2 million, which gives some additional GA parking and some things that were proposed and requested. And then vehicle replacement from the water wastewater fund, those 7 vehicles at $62,000. It just gives you a picture of where we're investing in our capital. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, we have nothing else planned on the work session, and the council will now go into executive session.